Ambassador Emily Harrison maintained her diplomatic smile as she stepped onto the crystalline platform of the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber. The massive hall stretched upward for nearly a kilometer, its transparent walls revealing the glittering expanse of the Horsehead Nebula beyond. 47 alien species watched from their elevated pods, their expressions ranging from pity to barely concealed contempt. High Administrator Valeth's crystalline exoskeleton caught the light of 3 distant suns as he rose from his central podium. His translator implant produced perfect English, though his tone carried the distinct condescension that had characterized every council interaction with humanity over the past 50 years. Representatives of Earth, his voice echoed through the chamber. We have watched your species with growing concern. Your rapid technological advancement shows a disturbing lack of proper evolutionary patience. Valeth's secondary arms emerged from his ceremonial robes, each holding a different data crystal. In the mere 5 decades since first contact, you have achieved developments that took other species centuries of careful consideration to implement. Emily exchanged a subtle glance with her colleague, Defense Attaché Michael Reynolds. They had expected this day would come, though perhaps not quite so soon. Behind her practiced diplomatic expression, she began mentally activating the quantum-encrypted neural implant hidden beneath her standard-issue translator. The Council has deliberated, Valeth continued, his crystalline features refracting light in patterns that signified supreme confidence in his species. We have determined that humanity requires protective oversight. For your own safety, and the safety of the galactic community, you will submit your technological development programs to Council supervision. The chamber erupted in murmurs of approval. Emily noticed the younger species, the Nyx-Ari and Kethar particularly, seemed less enthusiastic than the founding races. Interesting. You have 30 standard cycles to comply, Valeth declared. Should you refuse, Earth and all human colonies will be isolated from galactic trade routes. Your ships will be barred from Council space. Your communications will be restricted to your own systems. His outer shell pulsed with patterns that Emily's cultural training identified as smug satisfaction. Choose wisely. Emily stepped forward, her heels clicking on the crystalline floor in the sudden silence. Her neural implant had already transmitted everything to Earth Command, but this performance mattered for multiple reasons. High Administrator, she said, her voice clear and steady. Humanity appreciates the Council's concern for our welfare. We request the full 30 cycles to review this proposal with our government. She paused, then added with perfect political smoothness. We note, however, that Article 7 of the First Contact Protocols guarantees technological sovereignty to all spacefaring species. Valeth's shell patterns shifted to something resembling amusement. Articles can be amended, Ambassador Harrison, when they present a clear danger to galactic stability. His secondary arms retracted, the data crystals disappearing into his robes. 30 cycles. We await your submission to oversight. As Emily and Michael were escorted from the chamber, she maintained her diplomatic composure. Only once they were aboard their shuttle did she allow herself a small smile. She activated her secure comlink to Earth Command. Operation Cassandra is confirmed, she transmitted. The Council took the bait. They actually believe we've shown them all our advancements. She paused, watching the Council station recede through the shuttle's viewport. Activate Protocol Olympus. It's time to show them what humanity can really do. Michael reviewed the incoming acknowledgments on his neural feed. All colonies are receiving the go-ahead. Project Shadowforge enters final phase in 12 hours. He looked at Emily with a mixture of anticipation and concern. They really have no idea, do they? What we've been building out there in the dark. Emily watched the stars blur as their shuttle entered FTL. Their arrogance blinds them. They see what they expect to see. A young species advancing too quickly, in need of their guidance and control. Her smile widened slightly. They never considered we might be advancing exponentially faster than we let them believe. That we might have spent these 50 years preparing for exactly this moment. The shuttle's FTL drive hummed smoothly, carrying them back to Earth, where humanity's real fleet waited in the shadows. In 30 days, the galaxy would learn the true cost of underestimating human potential. Behind them, the Council's station gleamed in the nebula's light, its occupants confident in their power, unaware that their ultimatum had just triggered their own obsolescence. Deep within Ceres Station, Admiral Catherine Morrison stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her dress uniform gleaming under the chamber's lights. The holographic displays surrounding them showed real-time feeds from across the solar system, each one revealing another piece of humanity's greatest secret. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice carrying the weight of 2 decades of preparation. "Project Shadowforge is ready. The Council's ultimatum has given us the perfect justification to reveal what we've built." With a gesture, she activated the central display, showing a massive underground facility carved into the asteroid's heart. The chamber erupted in gasps as the first images of the true Terran fleet appeared. These weren't the primitive patrol boats the Council had seen. These were warships that defied conventional understanding of space combat. "The TSS Raven's Dawn," Morrison continued, highlighting the fleet's flagship. 4 kilometers of integrated human ingenuity. Her hull incorporates metamaterial arrays that can alter their physical properties in real time. The quantum reactor core generates more power than the Council believes physically possible. Defense Minister Robert Jackson leaned forward, his weathered face reflecting the blue glow of the holograms. "How many ships, Admiral?" 300 capital ships, sir. Over 1,000 support vessels, all constructed in secret using automated facilities throughout the asteroid belt. Morrison's eyes gleamed with pride. Each one incorporates technology the Council believes to be decades or centuries away from development. The displays shifted to show interior views of the vessels. Crew members moved through corridors lined with neural interface panels. Bridge stations featured holographic controls that responded to thought as much as touch. In the engineering sections, reactor cores pulsed with contained power that shouldn't have been possible according to Council physics. "The Council thinks they've seen our best work," Morrison said, walking through the holographic displays. "They've seen nothing. While they watched our civilian ships putter around with standard drives, we perfected quantum folding technology. While they monitored our public research into basic AI, we developed true synthetic consciousness integration." Security Chief Lauren Phillips raised her hand. "The Council's surveillance nets never detected a thing." Morrison interrupted with a satisfied smile. Dr. James Walker's gravitic distortion fields worked perfectly. As far as their sensors are concerned, the asteroid belt is nothing but rocks and automated mining operations. The displays shifted again, showing the fleet's weapon systems. Not the crude mass drivers the Council expected, but elegant arrays of quantum-linked particle accelerators and plasma containment fields that could reshape the space around them. "Every ship is equipped with a full neural interface system," Morrison explained. "Crews don't just pilot these vessels, they become one with them. Reaction times are measured in microseconds. The Council's ships will be firing at where we were, not where we are." The Council members watched in stunned silence as Morrison brought up the deployment schedule. "We can have the entire fleet operational within 48 hours. The Council gave us 30 days to submit to their oversight. I suggest we use that time to show them exactly why humanity doesn't need their protection." Defense Minister Jackson stood, his expression grave but determined. "The Council believes we're children playing with technology we don't understand, that we need their guidance to develop safely." He looked around the chamber. "Should we show them how wrong they are?" The vote was unanimous. Within hours, hidden hangar doors throughout the asteroid belt began to open. The Raven's Dawn emerged first, its adaptive hull drinking in the sunlight. As it moved into formation, more ships appeared. Destroyers, cruisers, and support vessels, each one representing a different breakthrough in human engineering. On the bridge of the Raven's Dawn, Admiral Morrison watched her fleet assemble. The neural interface hummed in perfect harmony with her thoughts, the ship responding as if it were an extension of her own body. 50 years of preparation were about to pay off. All ships, battle formation, she commanded. "Let's show the galaxy what humanity can really do when we stop playing by their rules." The Terran fleet moved as one, a symphony of advanced technology and human determination, ready to rewrite the galaxy's understanding of what was possible. High Administrator Valeth was enjoying his morning meditation when the alarms began. The crystalline chamber of his private quarters aboard the Council's central station filled with urgent alert patterns, their prismatic warnings reflecting off every surface. "Impossible," he muttered, accessing the incoming data streams. Multiple Council supply routes were reporting simultaneous disruptions. Ships vanishing from sensors, supply stations going dark, communication relays falling silent. The tactical display showed a pattern that shouldn't have existed. Precision strikes across 12 sectors, perfectly synchronized. No known species had the capability to coordinate attacks across such vast distances. The quantum entanglement delay alone should have made it impossible. "Administrator," his aide burst into the chamber, shell patterns flashing distress. "The humans. There." The words died as a new ship appeared on the main display. It emerged from a fold in space that shouldn't have been possible, its hull seeming to flow like liquid metal as it changed configuration mid-flight. The vessel was massive, easily dwarfing the Council's largest dreadnoughts, and bore markings identifying it as the TSS Raven's Dawn. Admiral Catherine Morrison's face appeared on every screen in Council space simultaneously, bypassing all security protocols. Her expression was calm, professional, and utterly terrifying in its confidence. "This is Admiral Morrison of the Terran fleet. In the past 6 hours, we have disabled 70% of the Council's primary supply lines. We have demonstrated our ability to strike anywhere in Council space at will. This is not a declaration of war. This is a demonstration of capability." Valeth watched in horror as 3 Council dreadnoughts moved to intercept the human vessel. The ships opened fire with enough firepower to reduce a small moon to atoms. The Raven's Dawn's hull rippled, its quantum field arrays activating. Instead of attempting to evade, the ship absorbed the energy of the attacks, its adaptive systems glowing with captured power. "Observe," Morrison continued, her voice carrying an edge of steel. "This is what happens when you underestimate humanity." The Raven's Dawn released the captured energy in a precisely modulated burst. The 3 dreadnought systems went dark, their crews unharmed but their ships completely disabled. Engineering teams would later report that key systems had been transformed at the quantum level, not destroyed, but fundamentally altered in ways their science couldn't explain. Commander Sarah Peters stood at her tactical station aboard the Raven's Dawn, neural interface humming as she directed the ship's defensive systems. "All targets neutralized, Admiral. 0 casualties on either side." "Well done, Commander." Morrison turned her attention back to the Council's communications. "We could have destroyed your ships. Instead, we chose to demonstrate restraint. Your crews are unharmed. Their life support systems remain functional. In 12 hours, their main power will restore itself." Around the galaxy, other members of the Terran fleet were emerging from hiding. Each ship demonstrated capabilities that broke half a dozen Council technological restrictions. Quantum tunneling drives, adaptive hull configurations, neural-linked weapon systems that could target with microscopic precision. In the Council chamber, Valeth watched his carefully maintained order crumble. The humans hadn't just advanced beyond expectations. They'd completely abandoned the Council's rigid technological development framework. Every ship in their fleet carried innovations that combined restricted technologies in ways the Council had deemed too dangerous to attempt. "The Council's ultimatum," Morrison continued, her image clear on every screen, "was based on the assumption that humanity needed protection from ourselves, that our rapid advancement posed a danger to the galaxy." She allowed herself a small smile. "We're not the danger, Administrator. Stagnation is the danger. Enforced technological restrictions are the danger. The belief that there's only one safe path to advancement. That's the real threat to our galaxy's future." The Raven's Dawn's hull shifted again, its surface now resembling polished obsidian. Around Council space, other human vessels demonstrated similar transformations, each one a deliberate display of technology the Council had thought impossible. You have 30 days to reconsider your position on protective oversight, Morrison concluded. We suggest you use them wisely. As the transmission ended, Valeth's aide turned to him, shell patterns showing pure terror. Administrator, what do we do? Valeth stared at the tactical display, watching the Terran fleet's ships vanish as quickly as they had appeared, leaving his disabled dreadnoughts as a reminder of humanity's power. We, he said slowly, may have made a terrible mistake. In the crystalline spires of the Nix-Eri Central Assembly, Ambassador Rachel Nash sat perfectly still, her neural implants synchronized with the quantum-intuitive communication style of her hosts. Around her, the ethereal forms of the Nix-Eri Council of Elders flickered with patterns of light that conveyed their growing agitation. The evidence is undeniable. She transmitted directly into their shared consciousness. For 3 centuries, the Council has systematically suppressed your species' natural affinity for quantum mechanics. Every restriction, every regulation, carefully designed to prevent you from reaching your true potential. The eldest light, leader of the Nix-Eri, pulsed with patterns of deep crimson, a sign of profound disturbance. Through the quantum link, Rachel sensed the ripples of shock spreading through their collective consciousness as decades of classified Council documents flooded their awareness. Simultaneously, across 17 different sectors of Council space, other human operatives were conducting similar revelations. Each had spent years embedding themselves in alien cultures, learning their ways, earning their trust, waiting for this moment. Your people weren't alone, Rachel continued, projecting images of other suppressed civilizations. The Kether's biological engineering capabilities, the Zykerx's antimatter manipulation expertise, all restricted, all controlled, all in the name of safety and proper development. In the depths of Kethar space, another human operative, Marcus Reynolds, stood before the Genetic Council. His body bore the marks of genetic modification, a gesture of respect and trust in Kethar culture. Your ancestors weren't reckless experimenters, he declared, his modified vocal cords producing perfect Kethar harmonics. They were visionaries, capable of reshaping life itself to survive anywhere. The Council didn't protect you. They caged you. The coordinated revelation campaign had been planned for decades. Each operative carried quantum-encrypted data cores containing irrefutable evidence of the Council's systematic suppression. Bank records showing bribes to local officials, security footage of Council enforcers destroying unauthorized research facilities, private communications between Council members discussing ways to keep dangerous species contained. Admiral Morrison's voice reached each operative through their neural links. Phase 2 is complete. Proceeding to Phase 3. Right on cue, the Raven's Dawn emerged from quantum space above the Nix-Eri homeworld. Unlike its earlier battle configuration, the ship now displayed its most advanced technological achievements openly. Its hull rippled with quantum field patterns that matched Nix-Eri communication frequencies perfectly, a deliberate demonstration of humanity's willingness to embrace and combine alien technologies. Your people understand quantum mechanics intuitively, Rachel transmitted to the eldest light. Ours had to learn it through science. Imagine what we could achieve together, without the Council's restrictions. The eldest light's form shifted through complex patterns of gold and blue, deep consideration mixed with cautious hope. The Council claims humans advance too quickly, without proper understanding. Rachel smiled. They fear what they can't control. Look at our ships. We don't just use quantum mechanics. We combine it with biological interfaces, adaptive materials, and artificial intelligence. The Council calls this dangerous. We call it progress. Across Council space, other species were reaching similar conclusions. The Kether, seeing human ships incorporating bioengineered components, recognized kindred spirits in innovation. The Zykerx, witnessing the Terran fleet's advanced power systems, saw the possibility of unrestricted antimatter research. We offer alliance, Rachel transmitted, her neural implants broadcasting the sincerity of her words on a quantum level the Nexari couldn't doubt. Not oversight. Not control. True partnership. The eldest light's form crystallized into a pattern of pure white decision made. The Nexari accept. Let us show the Council that true progress comes from cooperation, not control. Within hours, similar messages flooded in from across the galaxy. Species the Council had suppressed for centuries were declaring independence, protected by the sudden appearance of Terran fleet vessels in their systems. In her quarters aboard the Raven's Dawn, Admiral Morrison received the updates with satisfaction. Humanity remembers its own history, she murmured. Divide and conquer. A very old strategy. But this time, we're uniting the divided against their conquerors. The next transmission she sent was to Earth Command. Phase 3 complete. Multiple species have declared independence from Council authority. The alliance is forming. We're about to change the galaxy forever. And in the vast darkness of space, more Terran ships emerged from hiding, their hybrid technology a testament to what was possible when artificial boundaries were broken. The Council's emergency session chamber crackled with tension as High Administrator Valeth activated the secured quantum projection. Before the assembled leaders, a hologram flickered to life, showing a massive vessel unlike anything in the Council's arsenal. The Harbinger, Valeth announced, his crystalline form pulsing with dark determination. Our ultimate safeguard against species that threaten galactic stability. For 3 millennia, it has remained hidden. Today, we awaken it. The vessel was a technological monstrosity, 15 kilometers of concentrated destruction, built by the founding races before they established the Council's technological restrictions. Its primary weapon could induce artificial solar flares, sterilizing entire star systems. Admiral Morrison received the intelligence about the Harbinger's activation through quantum-encrypted channels. Standing on the Raven's Dawn's bridge, she allowed herself a grim smile. Right on schedule. All ships, initiate Operation Starweaver. The Terran fleet had seemingly scattered across dozens of sectors, appearing vulnerable and disorganized. The Council's massive battle group, led by the Harbinger, moved toward Earth with devastating purpose. They're approaching the Sol system, Admiral, Commander Peters reported, her hands dancing across the neural interface controls. The Harbinger's power signature is off the charts. They could trigger a solar event that would destroy everything out to Jupiter. Morrison nodded. And that's exactly why we're going to show them something they've never seen before. She opened a fleet-wide channel. All ships, prepare for the Terran waltz. Synchronize quantum cores on my mark. The Harbinger entered the Sol system like an ancient god of destruction. Its weapon systems began powering up, drawing enough energy to make the local space-time fabric shudder. Valeth's voice broadcasted across all frequencies. Submit to oversight, or watch your civilization burn. Now, Morrison commanded. In that moment, dozens of quantum cores activated simultaneously across the galaxy. The Terran fleet had spent years establishing a galaxy-spanning network of quantum-entangled particles. What appeared to be scattered ships were actually positioned with mathematical precision. The space around the Harbinger erupted with synchronized quantum jumps. Terran vessels materialized from every direction, their arrival perfectly coordinated through the entanglement network. The Council's ultimate weapon found itself at the center of a 3-dimensional geometric pattern of warships, each one already adapted to counter its capabilities. Impossible. Valeth's voice cracked with disbelief. The coordination delay alone. That's the problem with enforcing technological limitations, Morrison responded calmly. You start believing in them yourself. The Terran fleet moved in perfect synchronization, their quantum-linked systems allowing them to act as a single organism. We don't just build better ships, Administrator. We change the rules of what's possible. The Harbinger fired its primary weapon, attempting to trigger a solar flare. The energy beam struck a coordinated network of quantum fields generated by the Terran ships. Instead of reaching the sun, the energy was caught in a complex web of intersecting fields, contained, and redirected. A quantum ballet, Morrison commented, watching the energy disperse harmlessly. Beautiful, isn't it? When you stop telling people what they can't do, you discover what they can do. The Harbinger's weapon systems attempted to recycle for another shot, but the ship found itself trapped within a quantum containment grid. Every attempt to move or fire was predicted and countered before it began. From his command center, Valeth watched in horror as humanity demonstrated mastery over principles his people had deemed impossible to control. "How?" he demanded. "How did you achieve this level of coordination across light years?" "We never accepted your limitations," Morrison replied. "While you were restricting everyone to approved technologies, we were asking what if. What if quantum entanglement could be stabilized across galactic distances? What if ships could think and move as one? What if the rules you created weren't really rules at all?" The Terran waltz concluded with the Harbinger completely neutralized, its weapons disabled by technologies that ignored what the Council considered possible. Around it, human ships hung in perfect formation, their quantum fields humming in harmony. "Your ultimate weapon is now contained," Morrison announced, "and humanity didn't have to destroy it, or you, to prove our point. Remember that when you consider your next move." As the Council's battle group retreated in disarray, the Terran fleet maintained its perfect geometric pattern around the disabled Harbinger. They had just demonstrated that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their refusal to accept impossible as an answer. Dr. Lyra Velithak moved through the Raven's Dawn's engineering section with wide, multifaceted eyes, her crystalline form trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement. As the Council's foremost quantum physicist, she had defected at great risk, unable to resist the allure of humanity's technological breakthroughs. "This shouldn't be possible," she whispered, her translator struggling to convey her awe as she studied the ship's quantum core. "You've merged organic neural networks with quantum computing matrices." The Council declared this combination fundamentally unstable. Dr. James Walker smiled, his neural interface glowing softly as he interfaced with the ship's systems. The Council's mistake was treating technologies like isolated tools. "We saw them as instruments in an orchestra, each one unique, but capable of creating something greater together." The quantum core pulsed with beautiful complexity, its crystalline structure reminiscent of Velthak's own form, but where Council technology maintained rigid boundaries between different scientific disciplines, humanity had woven them together into a seamless whole. "Watch this," Walker said, placing his hand on a neural interface panel. The ship's internal structure began to shift, corridors and compartments realigning themselves like a living organism. Adaptive architecture guided by artificial intelligence, powered by quantum energy, controlled through biological interfaces. Every system enhances the others. Velthak's crystalline form flickered with patterns of disbelief. The Council teaches that such combinations invite cascade failures, that each technology must be developed and contained separately to ensure safety. That's like saying instruments should never play together because they might create dissonance. Walker led her to the bridge, where Commander Peters was running battle simulations. "Look at how our crews interface with the ships." Peters sat in her command chair, her consciousness merged with the vessel's systems through the neural network. Holographic displays showed tactical data, but she processed it directly through the quantum-enhanced neural link. The ship responded to her thoughts faster than any manual control could allow. "Your people excel at quantum mechanics," Walker explained. "The Kethar are masters of biological engineering. The Zykerks understand antimatter like no other species. But the Council kept you all separate, prevented you from sharing knowledge, from combining your strengths." In the observation lab, they watched recordings of the recent battle. The Terran fleet's coordinated quantum jump, the maneuver that had contained the Harbinger, played out before them. "Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology," Walker said softly. "It's our refusal to accept artificial limitations. When we discovered quantum mechanics, we didn't just study it. We asked how it could work with AI. When we developed neural interfaces, we combined them with quantum computing. Every breakthrough led to questions about new combinations, new possibilities. Velfax's form pulsed with realization. The Council's restrictions, they weren't about safety at all, were they? They were about control. Admiral Morrison entered the lab, her uniform bearing the subtle shimmer of adaptive fabric. A species that excels in one area is manageable. A species that combines technologies in new ways. That's unpredictable. That's dangerous. To those in power. The Admiral interfaced with the ship's systems, bringing up classified Council documents that Velfax's clearance had never allowed her to see. They revealed centuries of deliberate suppression, carefully crafted regulations designed not to protect, but to prevent innovation. Your people understand quantum reality in ways we're still learning, Morrison said to Velfax. Imagine if you could apply that knowledge freely, combine it with other species' insights. The Council's walls aren't just between technologies. They're between peoples, between ideas. The Raven's dawn hummed around them, its hybrid systems working in harmony. Every part of the ship demonstrated humanity's philosophy. Boundaries were meant to be crossed. Disciplines were meant to intermingle. And true progress came from combination and collaboration. This is why they feared us, Walker concluded. Not because we advanced too quickly, but because we advanced differently. We showed that their restrictions were chains, not safeguards. Velfax's crystalline form settled into patterns of determination. How many other breakthroughs have been waiting, locked behind artificial walls? How many discoveries have we missed because we accepted their limitations? That's the question that changes everything, Morrison smiled. And now the galaxy is finally ready to ask it. Commander Jake Martinez stood on the bridge of the TSS Starkiller, watching as the Nixari colony world of Velthorian burned. The Council's hardliners had released an engineered plague designed to either force submission or eliminate the rebellious population entirely. Crystalline structures that had stood for millennia were dissolving, their inhabitants crying out in quantum frequencies of pure agony. Medical teams ready for deployment, his XO reported. But sir, the Council's bioweapons are beyond anything we've encountered. Our standard protocols. We don't do standard, Lieutenant. Martinez activated the ship-wide neural link. All medical personnel, initiate Protocol Phoenix. Load the experimental nanite arrays. We're not losing this colony. The Starkiller's hull shifted, revealing delivery pods that combined human medical technology with Kethar biological engineering. Inside each pod, billions of adaptive nanites waited, their programming enhanced by quantum AI processing. Sir, the sensor officer called out. Council dreadnoughts approaching. They're warning us to withdraw or be fired upon. Martinez smiled grimly. Let them come. They need to see this. The pods launched, spreading a silver mist across the colony. The nanites went to work immediately, identifying the plague's structure and adapting in real time. Where Council medical technology would have taken weeks to analyze the weapon, the human hybrid system did it in minutes. On the Council dreadnought's bridges, stunned observers watched as the devastating plague was systematically deconstructed and reprogrammed. The nanites weren't just destroying the weapon. They were converting it into a cure. Impossible, the Council Fleet Commander transmitted. This level of biological manipulation, combined with quantum computing and AI guidance, is exactly what you feared, Martinez responded. Now watch what happens when we stop fearing progress. The colony's crystalline structures began to stabilize as the cure spread. Nixari survivors emerged, their forms pulsing with renewed strength. But the nanites didn't stop there. They began improving the crystalline structures, incorporating new properties learned from analyzing the plague's molecular patterns. News of the miracle at Velthorian spread across Council space like wildfire. The Kethar Science Directory, already wavering in their loyalty, publicly praised the human achievement. They have done what we dreamed of, the directory announced. They have proven that biology, technology, and quantum science can dance together safely. Aboard the Council's central station, The revolution that had been brewing for centuries finally erupted. Younger council members, led by Dr. Velfak, demanded immediate reform. They'd broadcast evidence of the council's long history of suppression, revealing how many discoveries and breakthroughs had been deliberately buried. The humans didn't just save Velthorian, Velfak declared to the assembled council. They showed us what we've sacrificed in the name of control. How many worlds could we have saved if we hadn't feared combining our knowledge? How many deaths could we have prevented if we hadn't placed artificial barriers between disciplines? The council chamber erupted in chaos as more members defected. Species that had been relegated to narrow technological niches for millennia began reaching out to human ships, requesting assistance in breaking free from their restrictions. Admiral Morrison coordinated the Terran fleet's response from the Raven's dawn. Human vessels positioned themselves strategically throughout council space, not as conquerors, but as protectors of the emerging revolution. When hardliner forces attempted to suppress the rebellion on the Zykirk's homeworld, they found themselves facing ships that could match their every move. "Your time of limiting others is over," Morrison transmitted to the remaining council loyalists. "You can either join us in building a future without arbitrary restrictions, or you can watch that future be built without you." In the medical bay of the Starkiller, Commander Martinez watched as Nexari healers worked alongside human doctors, sharing knowledge that had been forbidden for generations. Their combined expertise was already producing innovations that neither species could have achieved alone. The council thought they could contain progress. He mused, watching a young Nexari child's crystalline form pulse with healthy light. They never understood that true progress comes from breaking down walls, not building them higher. The revolution spread from world to world, sector to sector, as species rediscovered the power of unrestricted collaboration. The age of artificial limitations was ending, and a new era of unlimited potential was about to begin. The newly constructed Chamber of Unity sparkled with the combined architectural styles of a dozen species. Crystalline spires merged seamlessly with quantum-stabilized fields, while bioengineered support structures pulsed with living energy. It was a physical manifestation of the new philosophy that had swept the galaxy: cooperation over isolation, innovation over restriction. Admiral Catherine Morrison stood before the assembled representatives of the former council races, her dress uniform incorporating elements from each major species' ceremonial attire. The neural interface at her temple glowed softly, allowing her to broadcast her words in all native frequencies simultaneously. 30 days ago, she began, the council gave Earth an ultimatum. They demanded we submit to their oversight, claiming our rapid advancement threatened galactic stability. She paused, allowing a small smile. They were right about one thing. We did threaten stability. The stability of artificial limitations, the stability of enforced ignorance, the stability of fear disguised as wisdom. The assembled delegates stirred, their various forms reflecting the incredible diversity of galactic life. The Nexari crystalline bodies pulsed with quantum patterns, while Ketha representatives displayed proud examples of their newly unleashed bioengineering expertise. "But I'm not here to celebrate our victory," Morrison continued, her expression growing serious. "I'm here to share what we discovered in the ancient archives of the Harbinger. The real reason the founding races established their system of technological restrictions." The chamber's displays activated, showing astronomical data from the galactic core. Strange energy patterns pulsed through the ancient stars, forming complex geometric shapes that defied natural formation. 3 millennia ago, the founding races detected something awakening at the galaxy's heart. A vast network of automated defense systems, left behind by a civilization that vanished millions of years ago. These systems were designed to activate when galactic civilization reached a certain technological threshold, a threshold we're rapidly approaching. Dr. Velifak moved forward, her crystalline form radiating concern. The Council's restrictions, they were trying to prevent this awakening. They were trying to delay it, Morrison corrected, hoping that if they kept the galaxy's technology limited enough, these ancient systems would remain dormant. But they made a crucial mistake. They assumed that facing this challenge would require raw technological power. The displays shifted, showing the combined fleet that had gathered near the galactic core. Human ships flew alongside vessels of every council species, each incorporating technologies that would have been forbidden mere weeks ago. "What we need isn't just advanced technology," Morrison declared. "We need innovation, adaptation, the ability to combine different approaches in ways these ancient systems won't expect. We need exactly what the Council tried to prevent: the unrestricted exchange of ideas and capabilities across all species." Commander Martinez's voice came through the quantum link as his ship, the Starkiller, took readings near the core. "The activation patterns are accelerating, Admiral. We're detecting quantum signatures unlike anything in our databases." Morrison nodded. "Then it's time to show the galaxy what we can really do together." She turned to the assembled delegates. "Earth offers all our technology, all our innovations, freely shared. In return, we ask for the same. Let us combine the quantum intuition of the Nyx-Eri, the biological mastery of the Kether, the antimatter expertise of the Zykerks, and the unique insights of every species here." The chamber erupted in patterns of agreement: light pulses, chemical signatures, quantum resonances, each species expressing support in their own way. "The old council feared change," Morrison concluded. "They saw only the dangers of unrestricted progress. But facing what's coming, our greatest danger is in standing still. Together, we can build something new. A galactic alliance where every breakthrough is shared, where every species contributes their unique perspective, where we face challenges not as separate races, but as a united civilization." As she spoke, the first joint crews were already boarding their ships. Humans worked alongside former council species, their combined knowledge creating innovations that would have been impossible weeks ago. The ancient systems in the galactic core might be awakening, but they would face something unprecedented: a galaxy that had finally learned to advance without limits. "The Council's ultimatum was meant to contain us," Morrison smiled. "Instead, it freed everyone. Now let's show the universe what unbound progress really looks like."